I went into a communal kitchen one day, and as I looked around, you may have had this experience as well, I noticed that every surface in this communal kitchen seemingly had a warning, an admonition, or an instruction. Don't fill the water in the coffee pot above this line. Don't leave dishes in the sink. Don't make spicy or stinky food. Come on now. No talking in here past 10 o'clock. This window must stay open only 1 inch. I was completely overwhelmed by all of the rules, and immediately it felt like I was more on trial for how well I could stay within the lines. I'm not very good at that. I felt waves of judgment and a collective sense of rigidity in what many would consider a very creative and bountiful and expansive space, a kitchen. So I left, never to go back ever again. Everything we do sends a message. Everything. Carrie McDonald, the Executive Vice President for the Unitarian Universalist Association, said this very thing in a course titled Love Reaches Out. Perhaps you've picked up on the theme today. Love Reaches Out. It's a study guide of outreach and branding strategies for UU congregations and communities. And Carrie says, everything we do sends a message in our communities, just like that unwelcoming communal kitchen with the ridiculous signage and expectation. How we welcome people into our faith communities, into our lives, into our hearts, begins with knowing that everything we do sends a message. Sometimes our welcome is like that kitchen with written and unwritten rules that make it all but impossible for someone new to experience themselves with a sense of belonging. Our friends in recovery circles often will say that the most important person in the room is the newcomer, for they have new wisdom, new experiences, new stories, new ways of being, and strength to share that we have yet to encounter. And people are hungry for that saving and nurturing message, yes? People are hungry for that flaming core of Unitarian Universalism. I believe it in my bones. Beloveds, we are surrounded by social norms that emphasize the lie of individualism, predatory capitalism, the endless streams of empty ways that we can entertain ourselves. When people, all people, on some level, crave meaning, crave purpose, belonging, community, to be known, to know others, to connect with the transcendent and the sacred, to sense together what it truly means to live well and deep in an interconnected world. The American comedian and sharp-witted social critic, the late George Carlin, once said that inside every cynical person, there is a disappointed idealist. Whew, that one lands. Come on now. That one lands. Consider that for a moment, inside each and every cranky, bitter, hostile, short-tempered cynic is that tender underbelly of someone who is hurting, someone who is disappointed, someone who is agonizing, someone who is lonely, someone potentially who cares a lot, perhaps too much, and the pains of life, their world, our world, their choices, our choices, are all too much to show that they care again and again, at least to show that vulnerability, that tenderness, that softness outwardly. Inside every cynical person, there is a disappointed idealist. Think about cranky interactions with random strangers. Can you think of one? Yeah. Just one. Cranky interactions with random strangers who really and truly seemingly have no reason to be snarky or rude, and yet here we are. We all know these people. In our lives, in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, in politics. Yes, I did go there. So perhaps in this time and day, it is a dash of realism or pragmatism to be a wee bit cynical in these times, these days, perhaps. But I will tell you, as innovator Umair Haig wrote, the true enemy of love isn't suffering, it's cynicism. The true enemy of love is cynicism, as cynicism is the assassin of love. Cynicism poisons the possibility of love. It steals love's gifts. It attacks love's innocence. Just like in Carla's story this morning, wasn't that charming? Mr. Hatch released all of his cynicism. He released his fears, his doubts, his isolation, and the walls that he had put up between himself and others and community. All because he thought, he felt he was loved. How simple is that? Imagine for a moment how we would act differently, interact with others and the world, welcome new people into our lives, into our communities, into our hearts, if we knew for a fact that we are loved, that we are beloved. Oh, wait. That is actually the essence of what our universalist forebears taught, that the spark of the divine is in each and every person. We all have inherent worth and dignity. We are all manifestations of love in the world. So yeah, thank you, Chris. We all have that little piece of paper in our pocket that says somebody loves you, but it says you are loved. Because we have the power and the potential to create heaven right here, as our universalist teachers told us, believed. We can create heaven here on earth. Of course, they would say, what are we supposed to do? Love the hell out of this world. Because as humans, we are the ones that create hellish conditions, hellish relationships, hellish communities, a hellish reality that we can bring heaven to. Because everything we do sends a message. The wise psychologist Viktor Frankl wrote about how the pinnacle of self-actualization is actually closer to self-transcendence. When we are fully, authentically living full-throated, passionate lives, we are connected and interconnected with others. We transcend selfish and self-centered ways. The rigidity of the shoulds. Have you ever heard that? The tyrant of the shoulds and the musts. But we've always done it that way. It's beyond the binaries. It's beyond the dualistic thinkings. It's the yes and. Into an innate, transcendent wisdom that everything we do matters, and our spiritual journey towards wholeness is grounded in a revolutionary, compassionate love. Our dear beloved president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, the president of our Unitarian Universalist Association, and wise sage and prophet of our time, for me, poses powerful questions to us. And she begins this way. the everyday, honest, modern universalism that keeps me up at night whispers, what are you willing to risk? Who will you become as an envoy of love in the days to come? Yeah. Everything we do sends a message. Deep in our souls and our lives and our homes and our communities. So what? What are you willing to risk? What signs, literal and metaphorical, are you willing to take down to build connections and to be known? To be truly and deeply known? Who will you be as an envoy of love in the days to come? And I cannot promise that these days will be easy. I love you, but no. It will not be easy or straightforward, and it will not be not complicated. I can promise that when we embody the living core of what is possible in the best and most whole of us in our lives, it is when collective healing and collective action can begin. That is when we show up. So you and you and you and you are an envoy of love. What are you willing to risk? From the UUA, a statement of faith: we are Unitarian Universalists. We are brave, we are curious, we are compassionate thinkers, and we are doers. We are believers in what is good, what is right, what is just. We are diverse in faith, ethnicity, history, and spirituality, but aligned in our desire to practice our faith and beliefs in tangible ways. We foster a respectful community hallmarked by action, love, acceptance of all people. We are the original conscientious objectors. We are the original radical thinkers and self-motivated spiritual peoples throughout history. We have a track record of being on the side of people, love, justice, and peace. We have roots in radical thinking, come on now, and compassion. Our faith has always been motivated by a desire to contribute to the greater good. We are a house without walls, a congregation without spiritual boundaries, and a movement towards a more action-oriented faith in ourselves and in our beliefs. Simply put, we are a guide path towards a better you, a better us, and a better world. Beloveds, that is the message that we are called to embody as envoys of love. May you go forth with that little piece of paper in your pocket, so you may whole and heal a bruised and wounded world. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.